Well, joining us now, The Guardian's diplomatic editor, Julien Borger, and also with us, France 24's Sanam Chantier, who's been following those Iran nuclear talks. Thanks to both of you for joining us. The anger with Netanyahu is real. So are the accusations of spying. One U.S. source telling the Wall Street Journal in a report that was published a little bit earlier this week, it is one thing for the U.S. and Israel to spy on each other. It is another thing for Israel to steal U.S. secrets and play them back to U.S. legislators to undermine U.S. diplomacy. Julien, it's quite astounding, that remark. It's one thing for the U.S. and Israel to spy on each other and another to use it in a partisan matter. Were you surprised by this?
No, not at all, in that there's an acceptance that Israel has a very strong interest in finding out what is going on in the Iran nuclear talks. But clearly the administration was very angry at Bibi Netanyahu's intervention in Congress. And when they believed that he had used some classified, privileged intelligence in that briefing to Congress, then that sent them over the top. Now, the Israelis say we got hold of that intelligence in other ways, but that is not likely to placate the administration after Netanyahu's intervention in U.S. politics.
Yeah, I believe the Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman saying we don't need to spy on the Americans to spy on the Iranians, or something to that effect. Julien, the Guardian picking up on the Wall Street Journal story and going into the details of how nuclear negotiators are on their guard when they meet in places like Vienna.
Absolutely. Vienna, Geneva, these international cities are thick with the intelligence agencies from many different countries. Vienna in particular, because it's the headquarters of the International Atomic Energy Agency. And so every so often in Vienna, groups of nuclear scientists from different countries, including countries which are hard to spy on, converge on Vienna, and that makes them vulnerable to intelligence operations, either recruiting or bugging or stealing secrets. And so that's why there's a concentration of intelligence agencies and spies in Vienna. And one of the reasons why the Iranian delegation wasn't totally happy in continuing the talks in Vienna and wanted to move them away, because I'll give one example, the microwave radiation from the various different intelligence agencies pointed at the hotel venue of the Iran talks was at some points so intense that it was impossible to make mobile phones. And you'll see
are you sure that's why that's why the reception was poor?
Say that again.
Are you sure that's why the reception was poor in those hotel rooms?
I didn't quite hear you. Say again. Well, that was the belief, certainly, of more than one of the delegations, that because there were so many intelligence agencies using different microwave frequencies within the bandwidth, that meant that a lot of the mobile phone communications were crowded out of the available bandwidth. It very rarely happens, but it happens when a lot of people are trying to use a narrow microwave range.